On Saturday, June 14, 2025, 2 days after Nigeria celebrated Democracy Day, Yelewata, an agrarian community in Benue State, was attacked in a manner that horrified Nigerians. That incident forced President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to visit Benue State, a visit that was to tell Benue residents that the federal government was with them in times like that. If all is well that ends well, then that visit was not well, because the killings, whether in Benue or elsewhere in Nigeria, persist even as we speak. In this report, our correspondent revisit the Benue killings, the presidential visit, and matters arising.
It has been over 3 months since over 100 innocent Nigerians were killed in a coordinated attack on communities in Benue State. The epicenter of that mass murder was Yelewata, a peaceful community located in the sprawling agrarian lands of Benue State. Since that incident, mass murder has remained abroad in Benue State. Communities are being cleaned out, either chased away by marauding armed men who are preceded by people looking like innocent neighbors, or community members who stop by to say hello while in their farms are cut down in a hail of bullets. Crackling AK-47 rifles tell the innocent communities that these people passing by or flashing torchlights in the night are no friends. Whole community occupants are butchered in a demented manner. Father, mother, children, entire homesteads are burnt, and anybody trying to escape is cut down. As we said 3 months ago, happy, homely, and settled communities in Benue State have lived on their indigenous lands for as long as memory cannot even remember, could not understand what was happening to them. What was their sin?
All they want to do is to produce food, fend for themselves and for their families, and feed the nation. And to think that they will just be in their sleep, they've not gone out to attack anybody, they are just sleeping after a hard day's work, looking forward to the next day's work. And then somebody, crashes through their door and pours petrol into the room and sets it on fire, incinerating everything that is in that room. Men, women, children, their youths, everything. In the 21st century, this thing is happening.
It's a cause of grave concern, especially because the people just desire to live in peace, to sleep and wake up, to raise their families, to the extent of their limited financial resources, and just be themselves, But when the operating environment where all this is supposed to take place is not being created by the government, whose sole and primary responsibility is actually to guarantee the safety of lives first, the safety of property second, then it raises the larger issue of whether there's any form of governance going on in the country.
Those who managed to survive the assault from hell by mere chance have become internally displaced persons right in their own state. Not even the Roman Catholic pontiff, the Pope, could hold his shock. But what could he do but to pray for the innocent survivors and the souls forced with guns and machete to lose their hold on life? Reports after the Yelewata horror incident have revealed that Nigeria's intelligence agency, the DSS, had warned of the attack as those who staged it organized, armed their actual killers, and identified their targets right from a location in Nasarawa State. According to the report, the grounds of the killers was the implementation of the anti-open grazing law in Benue State. By that law, cattle involved in open grazing are arrested and confiscated. This was by the authority of the Benue State government and not any individual community. So, how could any one community take responsibility for a law legitimately enacted by the Benue State legislature and signed into law by the state governor?
In Nigeria, it appears the intelligence is failing. That is why the security incidents are actually happening. And now the response seems to also to be short. So if you look at Yelwata now, intelligence failed. That is why these guys got to the community. But when they got to the community, what was the response? The response also failed. That is why they were not stopped in their tracks. And they actually took a number of hours to go door to door, finish what they were doing, and they were allowed to go away.
There is a government in place that will hold those who were supposed to take action and didn't take action accountable for their not taking action when they should have, to protect the people. But, we are in a country where, virtually nothing happens to anybody who doesn't perform.
While the people of Benue State were asking questions on what the sins of their communities and their innocent folks were, it appeared that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knew a thing or two. In a statement the president issued at the heat of that mass murder, he chided the Benue State governor, Hyacinth Alia, for not being a statesman. He was spurning reconciliation, and that gave rise to reprisal attacks in the state. So, the governor was the architect of the mass murder in Benue State. The people of Benue State, according to the president's logic, had fired an earlier shot, and that shot drew the hail of reprisal bullets on them. Governor Alia should therefore reconcile the warring parties.
Official response, like it is reprisal attacks, it is warring parties, it's communal issues, it's political issues, and the response is that go and reconcile. So it is terrible that it's not only happening, but the response is not encouraging.
The problem with Tinubu's reprisal narrative is that it is short on history. The struggle over Benue land and the right to control how the land is deployed was an issue under the Southerner government in northern Nigeria. During the quelling of the Tiv riots in 1963 by the Tafawa Balewa government using the military, the issue of using the army to force the hands of the people of Benue was raised by politicians of then Middle Belt. Today, the people of Agatu, Yelwata, and 10 local government areas in Benue State are saying that their lives are being wasted, communities despoiled, and blood shed in a murderous move to take over their ancestral lands for open grazing.
I mean, they don't have the mandate to engage these people. That it is only the federal government that can give them the mandate to engage these people. So my people should be killed. My people should die all before government will talk about this. What is the meaning of this? Yesterday I buried 5 people, a father and 2 of his sons of over 40, 50 years in Teobian, very close to a military base. What is the meaning of this? If they cannot help me, maybe I'll leave this position as chairman and let it continue the way it is. I don't care about being a chairman of the local government of the people that are all killed. What is the meaning of this? Look at a child of 2 years old, butchered with cutlass. How many people? We're talking of no less than 20 people that were killed in Aondana village. This is the village of the former first lady of this state, Mrs. Eunice Otom. This is the village of the Togwe. This is the village of the Bishop Banagbe. This is talking too much for me to condone. And I tell you, whatever will happen, will happen.
Please, has the president heard this? So, the president wants the people of Benue State to surrender their lands to herdsmen or get killed. That cannot be reconciliation. To do so does not make Governor Alia a statesman. The president visited Benue State, if you remember, probably to have a first-hand experience of what was going on in the state. He went there with the full teeth of Nigeria's defense capability. The security chiefs went with him and some ahead of him, with each of them speaking of readiness to crush threats to peace and stability. But did Tinubu go to Benue State to bring succor to famished people, to soothe their pain, to give them back their threatened humanity and assure them of their safety? Or was he there to kickstart a political campaign towards 2027? Some may say this question is belated. But please, the mobilization of the people to line the routes and cheer the president, the declaration of a public holiday and closure of schools, and the failure of the president to visit Yelwata, according to him, because of heavy rain and bad roads, the very epicenter of the gory murders, was a classic in dancing on the grave of the innocent. Let a Benue visit of this type not repeat in any of the many corridors of mass murder expanding in Nigeria today. Plateau State, Kaduna State, Katsina State, Borno State, Imo State, Anambra State, Niger State. If the Benue visit repeats itself, Nigerians may be forced to conclude that political advantage matters more to Tinubu than the lives of the citizens. I'm Wabuzi Njoko for 360 Nigeria.